If you continue to eat a bunch of carbohydrate, especially refined carbohydrate, over time, your kidney, your eyes, your heart is all gonna suffer. I'm gonna share some advice with you, and that's gonna save your life. My name is Sophie. I'm a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and a certified personal trainer. In Asian culture, there's so many different variety of carbohydrate, especially the refined ones, such as white rice, white noodle, dim sum, or dumpling skins. All sound very delicious, but at the same time, they're not the best friend for your blood sugar. They pretty much affect your blood sugar about the same. Of course, it depends on how much you eat them and what do you eat them with and what do you do afterward, right? Each of those dishes that I just mentioned, they can be tweaked a little bit differently. For rice, there's different options. Whole grain rice, of course, whole grain rice have more fiber that helps delay the gastric emptying, so the blood sugar doesn't absorb as fast and the blood sugar doesn't spike as fast. So incorporating some whole grain rice like the brown rice or wild rice would be helpful. You can definitely slowly transition with maybe 1/3 brown, 2/3 white, and then half and half, and eventually completely to brown rice. So there's another really cool options regarding lowering your glycemic index and preventing sugar spike, and that's cauliflower rice. Because cauliflower rice, they are just cauliflower that kind of broken down into smaller grains that looks like rice. A lot of people, when they combine with white rice, they don't really notice because the color is very similar. Before, maybe they might be eating 2 bowls of white rice, and then maybe this time they might be mixing half of them in cauliflower rice. So that way they're only eating actually 1 bowl of white rice. So I think that might be an easiest switch. You know, they still see the bulk. They still like, oh, they're eating the same amount as they used to, but they already kind of cut down the calorie, increasing the fiber and lowering the glycemic index. So that's a very good trick. Noodle is another very common Asian cultural food. I love noodle soup myself or stir fry, but noodle has a lot of carb, and usually when we eat noodle, it's not like we just eat like 1/4 cup of noodle. We eat a whole bowl of noodle, right? I know when you're eating out, definitely try to maybe ask for a smaller bowl to just serve the amount that you plan to eat, and then maybe ask for extra vegetable on the side. Let's say you go to ramen, they usually have side toppings like seaweed, spinach, bean sprout, right? I definitely throw in a lot of those vegetables. Or if you make any noodle at home, that way you have more flexibility because you can control the type of noodle. I would say maybe try some soba noodle. Soba noodle is made of buckwheat. Buckwheat is a whole grain, have a lower glycemic index, so it definitely can slow down your blood sugar. Of course, the portion still matters, right? Even if it's whole grain. So for konjac noodle, it's like a freebie, low in calorie and high in fiber. You might see them in Chinese grocery store, or in American market, they will actually call miracle noodle. They have a different name, but it's the same ingredients, konjac noodle. There's also a pasta called skinny pasta, like fettuccine, rotini, spaghetti, all made of konjac noodle. So I have clients, they said they love pasta. They were like, oh, normally they crave for pasta a lot and they're working on weight management or blood sugar management on their own. If they were told to cut out pasta, that would definitely not work for them. But I told them about this alternative, skinny pasta. They said it still satisfies them, it tastes good. So they were very happy with this kind of switch. They are able to either lose weight or manage their blood sugar well because of incorporating these konjac noodle in their diet. There's also another type of noodle called the zucchini noodle, like the zoodle. Give you like the noodle taste, you know, like the stringiness of it, but they're low carb because they're just vegetable. And sometimes, let's say the noodle that I mentioned above, you couldn't find them. Another way to substitute is to find some whole wheat pasta because they are a lot more readily available and they're higher in fiber. Among all the different whole grain pasta, I actually like the spiral shape the most, like the rotini noodle. It doesn't really falls apart, it cooks just the same, and it tastes pretty good. A lot of times people love sandwiches, you know, and there's actually different options. There's keto bread available out there, you know, they're low in carb, then maybe made with almond flour or other nut flour. The carb amount is a lot lower and higher in protein, so that way even if you eat 2 slices, it won't spike your sugar as much. So lettuce wrap is another good option that's low carb that can be incorporated in your meal. For example, if you go out to grab a burger, a lot of times instead of getting those buns, the hamburger buns, buns, some places they can actually give you like a protein style or animal style. You can actually get the patty and then wrap them in lettuce along with maybe tomato and onion, so that way you can have less carb and it doesn't spike your blood sugar. Or sometimes it really depends. Let's say for a meal, 3 servings of carb, if you do the top bun, the bottom bun, and maybe fries, right? Yeah, if you eat all 3, then it's 3 servings. Let's say, oh, I don't care for the fries, then maybe you can have 1 bun, have like an open face sandwich. Or you can, oh, I want the fries, maybe I'll just get the lettuce wrap and I eat the fries. That way you have reduced the servings of carbohydrate altogether at one meal. Our Asian culture, like this steamed bun is very common. There's actually whole wheat or whole grain mantou, like the steamed bun, sold in the supermarket. So maybe choose those options. The whole wheat steamed bun has more fiber, or you can buy some whole wheat flour and make those, the one that have the stuffing, have like meat inside, then you can make your own with the whole wheat flour. Same as dumpling, because the dumpling skin that's sold outside, unfortunately, there's not really whole grain dumpling skin, so you kind of have to make your own. Another common Chinese food that's high in carb is like those scallion pancakes, 葱油饼. Yeah, people love those. High in carbohydrate, especially refined carbohydrate, the traditional way. So maybe using whole wheat flour to make them, maybe eat them with eggs, and some other protein, not just eating just the pancake by itself. So that way, increasing the fiber with the whole grain flour and adding protein to make it more balanced. Or you can put in some vegetable in it as well with the egg, make it into an egg wrap, instead of 蛋饼, egg pancake versus just scallion pancake. And once in a while, you might want to explore other cultural food like taco, Mexican food, right? So let's say for taco, there's different type of tortilla. The flour tortilla usually have less fiber, and then you can maybe do the corn tortilla instead. The corn is considered whole grain. If you are able to get organic corn tortilla, that will be even better. Some stores sell them. Let's say if you're really trying to maybe go easy on the carb, you can get actually jicama taco. They're like slices jicama I've seen in Trader Joe's or some grocery store, so you can still have your meat topping and then along with other lettuce and tomato and onion, cilantro, right? Instead of having the tortilla, putting the toppings on jicama taco. And then when you go to a Korean barbecue, I know people love that. There's actually a way to manage that as well, because I know most people go there for the meat, but then there's also like the rice paper that goes with the meat. And same thing, the rice paper is considered white carb, the refined carbohydrate. So most restaurants, they actually also have like a radish wrap that can substitute as well. So you can eat your Korean, the barbecue beef or meat with the radish wrap. So that way they're considered vegetable and they're low in carb and doesn't spike your blood sugar. So yeah, you have heard many other options that I just shared regarding incorporating carb in our diet. So carb is not the enemy. It's not the never food, it's the sometimes food, and also is how you make these little adjustments that makes it, you can still incorporate that into your life. I have a video that talks about the different type of soy sauce, how to choose them. I have another video that talks about how to eat hot pot in a healthy way. Also, how to eat dim sum. When we go to dim sum restaurant, how to order in a healthy way. If you like the content, please like and subscribe to our channel. I share a lot of motivation tips, recipe ideas, nutrition tips on a daily basis.